And after Heartstone, then people started seeing the effect that you could have using your gift, just music. Kalamashaka came knocking on the door.
How did the Kalamashaka connection happen?
Kalamashaka, I was in Florida 2000. I had been invited for a talent search by DJ Mo, Mose, and he said, "Come, we're doing this talent search. You might find some talent here and stuff." I saw Kalamashaka, I saw Giddy, I saw Maji, I saw Darling P. I saw a couple of other guys, but they were nondescript. But I took those three. I was supposed to take one. I said, no, I'll take all these three guys. And I told Giddy and Maji, the only way I'm going to work with you guys is if you guys combine effort. Because it's pointless to work with one jungle guy and another jungle guy who are competing. So you guys have to become something. So figure yourselves out. Kalamashaka, I just took as the package that they were.
They were already a group.
They were already a group. They had already gone through the motions of, they had already now formed themselves. Yeah. And they have a different story of how they gelled. But they had already gelled by the time they were coming to Florida. Darling P was booed off stage. Again, I saw, even through the booing, I said, I wish people saw potential. Yeah, I wish people saw potential and not where the person is. And
what did you see now, like in Darling P? Because that's, I mean, what you're saying is insane. Somebody was booed off stage, but you're like, yo, that guy needs to, I need to record this guy.
You know, out of Kalamashaka, Heartstone, Giddy Giddy, Darling P had the biggest impact, and people still actually don't get it. Darling P did have the biggest impact because Darling P was speaking not to the young urban guy, he was speaking to everyone. The guy of Mjengo could understand Darling P.
Wakati tunasema zinu wa noma, si kusema tuko naoma. Mi siwezi kutuangana ati nikusomoa lungu na kutandika kiso mpaka unatoa nundu. We got stuff that is 100 times nicer than the best is. Yo, even tupaka mazakwani za kilonyi including Osama bin wa Mandeni knows this. Atijivanyi? Mena AKA Karomai. Plus ile kechana ingine noma kutoka kule gendo. Ogetaka soma levo na biyocha live grupa na leta nyogo organize Mr. Check it out. Utana na muhindi, utoga para hindi na gunia rama hindi ngamwambia nibe hindi agasongosa macho na gole sa mimbi kechana wewe nani na unataka nini ebeste wewe nani unagagacha masi ngamwambia oya chip mimi flavor wa umoja gole gayole pamoja na gomorox chamaga ripoti ategecho gama lenge mutomo ndio kubwa kama bakulia chera ngamwambia chege mani mimi nigatana aliya bogatana na wesa gogochana hivyo wacha toganana ate mimi nigatana aliya bogatana na wesa gogochana with the boom babyo yes yo nali bisek the mic just to me in ya elia seki beyonda kasala kasi easy yobo ini one usukani in ya elia with the boom babyo yes yo nali bisek the mic just to me in ya elia seki beyonda kasala kasi
and that's what people didn't understand. And I was like, you know what? I want that guy of Mjengo to be like, Darling P is my guy. Mboof mbaf, yo. Yes, yo, with that Kamba accent. And you know what? He was the first guy to cross onto Swahili service. Now, Swahili service was the biggest station at that particular point. It was KBC's biggest, outlet. If you're on Swahili service, you must be playing Benga, or you must be Leswanyika and all of those guys. Darling P was right in there with them. So he had a huge impact. And that's what I had seen. I had seen that this guy was actually opening up the golden market. He was opening up the River Road market for us and all of that, and nobody was seeing it. Everybody was thinking, we have to really our music has to be for the young guys and stuff. And I'm like, no, let's make music for everyone. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So at this time, you're still at Sync Sound.
I'm still at Sync.
you've recorded Shades of Blackness.
Yeah.
I mean, if we break down, all your artists will be here for 4 hours, which or 4 days.
I've recorded Shades of Black. Shades of Black CD has gone to number 4 on the Spanish charts.
Hold on, that's not Africa.
On the Spanish charts.
What song in particular?
Serengeti Groove.
Oh, that was huge.
Come to Serengeti and you just might wanna stick out. This is how we move when we do the Serengeti. That's too. Everybody move, come and do the Serengeti groove. You can do that too. Wachamila, ni mtumwa. Kusamila, ni mfungwa. Kwetu sisi twajivuna sababu mila.
Serengeti Groove has become so big that CNN has used it for a Tanzania travel show. CNN don't even know that it's a Kenyan group. And because they've used it for Tanzania travel group, what's happened is Master J, P-Funk, Kwanzaa Unit, the biggest hip-hop groups and producers in Tanzania, have come knocking on Sync Sound's door. They've come all the way from TZ to ask us, can you show us how you're doing this? Because we can't believe it. And this music that you're doing is actually breaking into our market. And then at that point, what's happened is it's become so big that I can't now just work with just one artist. I need to work with a group of artists. So I did Kenyan the First Chapter. Kenyan the First Chapter had 13 songs from 13 different artists.
Give us an example.
Kala Mashaka, Nikki, Sheila Mwanyiga, Peter Dare with Hart, Jimmy Gadu, and Maina Kageni, myself and Maina Kageni. It had, who's the saxophone player called?
Chris Bitok?
Yes, Chris Bitok as background vocal. It had a mixture of people. And what happened was that ended up in TZ alongside the Shades of Black stuff on Clouds FM. Clouds FM is the biggest FM station at that time with
This
the biggest
is
DJs.
95, 96 still?
Yeah, 95, 96. They've come and said, we need you to come to TZ and just, do some workshops and help us understand how you're doing this, because we can't believe that you're doing this. Nikki has become the biggest female artist out of East Africa with Mapenzi Tele. And Nikki is actually the reason why you have the female artists in TZ. Because TZ said, hold on a minute, we can't not have female artists, and there's this girl who we're giving all the airtime from Kenya. So we influenced the TZ sound. It's not the other way around. It's
not like what's happening now.
No, we influenced the TZ sound. And I'm in TZ thinking, my God, how is this happening? How is it that we're influencing a whole nation? And at that particular point, I'm going through a transition as well. I'm like, I don't want to do radio commercials and TV commercials and all this jingle stuff that Sync Sound want to do. They're loving it because it's paying them hundreds of thousands of shillings at that particular point every time we bring in commercials. I'm hating it because I really want to focus on the music. So there's that struggle. And I'm like, and also they don't want to increase my salo. In fact, they've become clever. They've negotiated percentage down because I'm making a lot more money than everybody else. And I thought to myself, I've got all this equipment in there. 60% of the equipment in there is mine. Let me pull it out. And one day I just said, you know what, guys? For me, this is the end of the road. You've trained me, you've taught me well. I'm really happy and everything, but I need to go solo from now on. And I hooked up forces with David Moridi, who was the manager of a lot of these artists, and myself was the producer, and Mike Rabah, who had some equipment, and we went and set up in State House Road.
Dennis Pritt.
And people then knew us as Audio Vault / Blue Zebra, because
the transition.
Audio Vault lasted all of as long as Mike Rabah was there, and Mike then realized he wanted to do his own thing, and as soon as Mike walked out, we just said, you know what, let's keep on going, because we still want to do what we want to do. At this point, we've released Kenyan the second chapter.
Okay. Man, Ted, you know, the thing about you, you're an archive. there's so much wisdom, even as you're talking, there's so much wisdom that you're sharing. I want to understand the Kalamashaka link, because that was huge. I remember that song, the impact it had to me that time at the age that I was just mind-blowing. How did you take these guys from, again, Dandora, and commercialize them? And why did you put Nikki? Why was you, what process did you used to go through while you're creating your sound? Because I feel like we've sort of lost an African sound. But when I would hear your music, it was the first time I was like, this is local, but this is urban, and this I like. What process did you go through, and how was it working in Kalamashaka?
For me, it always had been not just Kalamashaka, but the process of the mindset for me was, all of us have been in high school, we speak English, we like listening to the general service, the FM stations have come in, they're playing all this urban music from all over the place. We like the urban beats, but kuna vile sisi ufanya vitu zetu tofauti. Sio? We like Sheng. And I thought, what we need to do is take our street culture, our Kenyan street culture, our Kenyan street vibe, you know, the Mathris, and I used to look at Mathris a lot and look at that street vibe and say, it's not available anywhere else in the world. This is something that's really Kenyan. The way we speak when we're in high school.
Manze,
all of those. Yeah, exactly. And we need to put this on that urban beat. So I was walking home one day, and I remember we had gone with Kalamashaka to Kisumu. They had gotten booed off stage because Kalamashaka was just a copy paste of Lost Boys. They were doing all their hip hop in English. And Kama had actually just broken down and said, you know what, I've had it, man, I'm not doing it.
Kalamashaka were doing all their raps in English.
In English. In English.
How many people know that?
And I was like, I think we're really missing the formula. These guys are from D. And I was like, these guys are from D. People don't understand. People need to understand this. And I remember in my head, I play it back a lot. People need to understand this. Tafsiri. I'm like, boom. And the next day I go in and I take this old Mary J sample, I add a beat to it, and I tell Johnny, just trust me. Go into the studio and just say, Tafsiri hi maisha kule D. And I got stuck there. And they said, ni mazi, nina rap nikitumia MIC. And I was like, kaboom.
Straight from the Mau Mau camp, in the red corner, Muliro, the Otero, in the blue corner, Kamau, Chekigidya, I'm the referee, the Mr. Vigeti, Toka Kalamashaka, Nisa Mujabili, Kiswahili, Arusha, Tafsiri, maisha kule tini mazini, ninatumia MIC, Tafsiri, ingawa tuko chini bado tunatumaini, sikiza kwa makini, Tafsiri, maisha kule tini mazini, ninatumia MIC, Tafsiri, ingawa tuko chini bado tunatumaini. Sikiza kwa makini, Tafsiri, wewe unastahili kunipa nafasi.
We got it made. We got it made. We have the solution. Tafsiri, he. And the young urban guys at that particular point were like, actually, yeah, nobody understands us. So it's time for you, unielewe. So they started writing their lines about their struggles. You know, I've got a degree and I can't find a job. I don't want to be a thug, but if you push me, I'll be a thug because man, life where I come from,
Nikubaya.
yeah, exactly. And I was like, yeah, keep it real. And we kept it real. And then we thought, you know what, it's a bit too real. There are certain guys who might be, you know, the uptown guys might be like, yo, yeah, this
Keep
is
away
a bit
from
hard.
this side, man.
Yeah, these guys are hardcore, you know what I mean? Because they were hardcore, they are coming from the ghetto. And then we did songs like Songa Hapa, which was actually not Nikki, it was Natasha Gatabaki. Most people think it's Nikki.
Hello?
Hello, wewe ni Lily?
Hi.
Sasa.
Hi. Mom. Hello?
Hello.
Who are you?
Hey mama.
Who are you?
Ni Johnny hapa.
Johnny, oh my God,
Unajua,
how dare you?
mama.
Don't ever call here. Do you hear? See, my God, I know you can't help her. You don't
Mama.
Attract vile MIC, you attract MCs. Tunafaa to catch breeze kule West Indies.
And Natasha came in, and she was with Atemi Oyungo at the time, doing their thing in two as a group. And in the middle of writing the song, and she says, "Oh, I can sing on that." And her and Mudhoni Buika did the chorus.
No way.
And Mudhoni Buika was a presenter at Capital FM. So you know, doors are just opening up for us at that time. That's how that was the reason why I changed my mind. I said, look, we need to get this urban culture in. As we moved and became David Morady and I, Audiovore / Blue Zebra. Then we moved into Kenya, the second chapter.
Tell us about Kenya, the second chapter.
Kenya, the second chapter, basically just